Hey, what's up everybody? Today we are going to be installing the Airport Environment HD from Mister6X. So if you go onto the org here, we're going to go to Downloads, and this is the simplest way to find this. And we're going to scroll down to Most Downloaded, and if you scroll over to the right, Airport Environment HD from Mister6X. So let's click on that. And just a quick heads up, if you guys are having those weird taxi signs that are all jumbled and stuff, you do need to update this to the latest version here. So Airport Environment HD, um, what this is going to do for your X-Plane is it's going to update all the taxiway signs, taxiways, runway textures, all that kind of stuff to give you a pretty amazing update of the textures to give them almost an HD, which is exactly what it's saying, quality textures. So if we take a look here at the features, it's actually going to replace runway and taxiway textures, blast pads, runway shoulders, skid marks, taxiway signs, apron lights, fuel tanks, baggage carts, cargo dollies, tractors, cargo truck, painted ground signs, ramp marking, taxi lines, and terrain textures on airport areas. So this is going to be like the grass and stuff like that. So what we're going to do, let's download this file. And if you don't see this, download this file. You do have to make a username and password for the org to be able to download stuff. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so we are done downloading here. It does have an installation section here, and it also has a README with installation instructions. So if you want to, double check that along with this video here, that might be a good idea if you want to follow along. So we are done downloading. Let's open our XPlane folder and our download folder. So here's our Airport Environment HD. And now if you guys don't know how to make your windows snap like this, because it's a lot easier to work with the two windows next to each other, all you have to do is kind of take this one window, drag it over until you see the little box pop up, let go, and it'll snap into place. And then this way we could deal with both windows next to each other. So let's extract this. And once this is extracted, you're actually going to have a few folders in here. So let's go over these folders real quick. So optional pre-XPlane 1135 taxiway signs. If you're on 1135 or newer, you don't need this. If you're still on 1134 or anything before that, you're going to need the textures that are in this folder here. Since we are on the latest one, the beta that just came out on the 2nd or 1st of November, I think it was, we're going to delete that folder because we're not going to be dealing with it. And like I said, the README here, if you open this, it'll actually give you a really nice user manual for installation and all types of how to set the scenery load order, disabling features if you don't want to see certain stuff. So have a look at that if you need to. Now if we go to the XPlane side here, where we're going to be dealing with to install this, there's actually two folders. We're going to be in the custom scenery and we're going to be in the resource folder. So the first thing we're going to do is go into the resource folder, bitmaps, and runways is the folder we're going to be dealing with. Now, if you're like me and you like making backups of the folders that you're replacing on XPlane, I do have a section on my hard drive where I have, this is just all kind of stuff that I downloaded along with backup files for stuff that I'm going to be replacing. So if we go in here, I don't have anything yet, but what we're going to do is make a copy of this folder and we're going to paste it in here just in case something happens and we want to go back to default. Instead of running the installer, we could just take this folder and drag it back in here and we'll have the default XPlane textures. So like I said, anything you touch in XPlane, it's always good to kind of make a backup this way in case you don't like it or something happens. You can always drag that default back in there. So let's close this out. And now let's go on to part one. So part one is going to be the texture replacements here. So if you look, we got taxiways, asphalt, concrete, grass, runway, shoulders, skid marks, and all these textures here are going to be in this folder here. So what we're going to do, we're going to take the textures from the Airport Environment HD and just highlight, drag and drop, replace the files, and now you can see all the files that it has over written in your XPlane. Now that was part one, so we're done with that. Let's get rid of that so it's not in the way. Now we're going to go on to part 1.5. So this is an optional thing. If you're in Europe somewhere and you want to use the European style runway numbers, you could put this in. This does overwrite the, let's just double check here. Yes, so you can see what it actually does here is it adds a 0 before the single digit numbers. So even if that's something that you would want in, any other part of the world that you're flying in, you could add this in here. I'm not going to add it because I'm in the United States and we don't usually have the zeros in front of the numbers. But like I said, if you do want to add this just for the look of it, you could do that. And that's basically what that's going to do for the optional part. So we're done with that. Let's delete that. And we showed you the README, so let's get rid of that. So now we're on to the last part here, which is going to be the scenery library. So back to the beginning where we were talking about the custom scenery folder. That's where all your scenery libraries go. So if you were ever downloading something like, 3D People or Flags of the United States or anything like that, a lot of these airports you download from the org, these guys require libraries to be added to those airports and the custom scenery folders where any of those libraries go. We're going to have other videos showing you a little bit more in depth about that coming up in the future. But for right now, all we're going to do is open this folder. And you can see here we have a folder inside here called Airport Environment HD. If we click on that, these are all the files that are inside there. You do not want to drag these files into your custom scenery. We're just going to put the folder called Airport Environment HD into your custom scenery folder. So now when you load XPlane, XPlane will be looking for this texture folder here with the library to replace the textures that we didn't drag and drop in there. So a lot of the stuff like your objects and ground textures, that's in here. And like I said, if you ever decide you want to go back to default, you have a backup of your runways folder, and all you would have to do is to delete this folder out of your custom scenery, and it will go back to default. So now that we have this all installed, let's just go and take a look and see what we got going on here. So we're going to load up here on Islip out on Long Island, New York. And we're going to take a look and see the new textures we had downloaded. If you guys are looking forward to future videos and stuff like that, just make sure you hit the subscribe and like button and hit the bell to make sure you're notified of any new videos that I do come out with. And if you have any requests, you can leave a comment or send me a message of any requests that you would like to see of how to install certain things into XPlane. So here we go. And so let's go to an outside view. So now if you came in here and you looked at this from default, you would see a completely different looking runway and taxiways. I believe they're actually kind of like a really light concrete texture here, but you can definitely see how much better this makes your runways and taxi lines and everything look. So, oops. So yeah, if we get close here, you can see the quality of the whole short line here and the taxi lines and everything else. Even your runway textures and everything here. So, alright, and I think that's pretty much going to be it for this video. Like I said, if you guys have any comments or things you would like to see for future videos, just leave me a comment or send me a message, and I'll be sure to take care of that. Alright, take care guys, and see you next time.